When I came to New York and I went to visit the Fashion Institute at the museum in New York, I saw the Yves Saint Laurent retrospective and fell in love with it right away. And I was always thinking in terms of fundraising, and at that point I was fundraising for the San Francisco Symphony. And I just saw that and thought that would be a wonderful, wonderful fundraiser to bring it to San Francisco, since no one will have seen it. And I thought if it goes from the East Coast to the West Coast and then back to Paris, that would be wonderful. We needed to find a place to house it. The symphony couldn't house it for 3 months and have security there. But then I thought, what about a fashion show? Just a one-night fashion show, Yves Saint Laurent Couture show. I called up again Connie Uzo, who put me in touch with Baroness Helene de Ludenhauser, who worked for Yves Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger, and spoke to them and said, and they already knew about having the whole collection, but they also knew it was turned down. And they said they'll think about it. Ultimately they did. They said, okay, we're coming. We'll be able to do it for one night, but security and everything was available for the night. Anyway, we had the fashion show. It was the first ever fashion show of the haute couture outside of Paris, anywhere. And it was done in San Francisco at Davies Symphony Hall, which at that time housed 2,400 people. As it turned out, we sold out for $1,000. We filled the whole place, made a lot of money. Yves Saint Laurent brought back with him Iman, some of his models from Paris. So he had about 18 models, out of which 15 he brought from Paris. And Iman, of course, I remember that very well. There was another one, I don't recall her name. She had also just one name. And we had to get the rest from San Francisco. And the show was half an hour. That's all it was. And people wanted more, which is the way they wanted it. They designed the dinner. They had the most wonderful centerpieces. They had 3 dozen roses per table. That they had someone from Paris come and actually do all the decor. They didn't feel we were, sophisticated enough to do it. And I actually at that time agreed. And it was wonderful. They had 3 dozen roses. As it turns out, I'm highly allergic to roses. And right before the event, I had to make sure I got allergy shot because I'd be crying throughout the whole evening. And so it was the most successful fashion show ever. And Pierre Berger came, and I had the mayor give him the key to the city, and we called it the Yves Saint Laurent Day, and it was fabulous. It was the first one ever of couture, because most people don't get a chance to see it.
Oh, my legacy would be primarily a tailoring, because I have a background in tailoring. And the heart of my clothes has always been tailoring, classic tailoring. And which is actually not that easy to achieve, because I started out as a tailor during the war. So I have an advantage there. I can tell a pattern maker exactly what should be done. I can't be told it can't be done, because if it can't be done, I will give him a sketch that can't be done. So I believe in paring things down, and that works best, because the coat should complement the wearer. And the wearer should not be a victim of the coat. It's basically what I believe. It's an A-line coat, has an easy flow, and it's very easy to wear. I always like a color that goes up high, because it makes you look taller. And the fabric, I think, was a cashmere. And again, she can wear the coat open, she can drape it over her shoulder. She doesn't have to fuss over it. And because of the A-line, again, the A-line is very controlled. You have to know exactly how full the coat should flare. If it flares too much, you can't sit down comfortable in the cab, because you're sitting on yards of fabric. So these things have to be carefully calibrated, which I tried to do. And that was a very successful coat, actually. Again, when I do fitted coats, I don't do exactly nipped in. I do it like shaped, and it flares out gently, slightly A-line. And this obviously, I would say, is a Russian influence. Dr. Shigavo, Chicago, right? Yeah, or something like that. And has a Persian, it is, I think it was a navy cashmere coat, and the collar and cuffs are Persian trimmed.